Hey, another video, this time once again on a ImageSC question. This question on segmenting cells with different shapes with Cellpose. This question was posted about a year ago, but it just recently got bumped. And you can see here that it's got an image here with long elongated cells on one side and round cells on the other side. And as is typical with Cellpose pre-trained models, Cellpose models are very good at detecting structure if it's all at the same scale and can be adjusted for different scales by adjusting the diameter parameter. But sometimes it can be tricky if you have structure in the same image at different scales. So in this case, the long cells and the roundish cells. This question was from about a year ago. It got bumped recently. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to train a Cellpose model for different scales. And if you've seen some of my videos before, you know I've hit on this topic a few times. Usually I work with notebooks and Python utility libraries, but today I'm going to try to see if I can hit this question 100% with the Napari GUI. So I'm going to try to train a Cellpose model using napari-easy-augment-batch-dl. It's a Napari widget, which I've actually shown this before in some of my videos and some of my notebooks. Usually my workflow is I write a notebook to do deep learning, pop up the viewer to do the labeling and maybe some augmentation, and then do the training in code. But again, today I'm going to see if I can do everything on the GUI. And this plugin is a work in progress. It's really just a little GUI wrapper around the work I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. But it's available on the Napari Hub, with the only caveat that it requires a lot of dependencies which aren't actually shipped with the plugin. So if you want to get this, you can install it from the Napari Hub, but it won't do anything useful unless you have like a environment with deep learning toolkits also installed. So if you're looking to get this working, I'd also look at this list of dependencies. This is in my TNIA Python utility library. Again, if you followed any of these videos, you know that I have this utility library. I keep track of problems I'm working on in the ImageSC directory, and notebooks ImageSC, and this one is 2025-0212, Cellpose with different shapes. We have this dependencies list. So question, why not just ship all the dependencies with the plugin? The problem is the plugin's designed to work with different deep learning libraries. It sort of detects which deep learning libraries are installed in your environment. And I don't want to add like Cellpose and Stardist and SAM and PyTorch and the GPU drivers all as dependencies. So for right now, we sort of leave it up to the user to install the deep learning toolkits they want to work with. Okay, so let's start up Napari. And let's just take a look at how we organize the images for this problem. So what I do when I start off with a deep learning problem, I first put my set of images I want to work with in a folder. And in this case, there's only one image, so we have this image we're going to use for our test. The image, it's actually the image from the forum question. This was just a screenshot, so I actually just cropped out the left side. And what we want to do is we want to start the easy-augment-batch-dl plugin. Then we want to open up our image directory where we put our data. So it was right here. You get this little pop-up asking for the number of classes. For Cellpose, you don't need to worry about that. Just leave it at 1. and then plugin starts with our image collection. And in this case, we only have one image. So the first thing, so our end goal here is going to be to, again, segment big elongated cells and round cells. But first thing we have to do is label. So yeah, there's basically three parts to this program plugin: labels, augmentation, and then training and prediction. And I think I mentioned before about the dependencies. This plugin isn't really shipped with the dependencies, so if you just install it from the Napari hub in a sort of empty environment, it won't do that much. This train predict menu, this first menu where you choose your framework you want to use, will probably be empty. So it relies on having like other deep learning toolkits installed. So you can see in this environment, I have SAM installed, YOLO installed, some toolkit for random forest model, and then Cellpose and PyTorch. So I get all those options on the menu, and we're going to use Cellpose for this problem. But before we get to this training and predicting, we need to label. So the trick is with this plugin is sort of designed to handle small data. So in this case, we have ultimate small data, only one image, but oftentimes we may have 10 to 50 images, and and some of the images in particular might have trouble spots. We may not want to label everything in every image. So the first thing we want to do is we use this thing called label box to basically mark what area of our image we're going to label, and then we use the Napari built-in labeling tools to sort of start drawing labels on our cells. So we can do this. And I'm not going to make you watch me totally label this image, but again, the idea is draw a label box, then start drawing your labels in it. Anything outside the label box won't be used for training. So only what's inside this label box will be used for training. And one other quick thing, your label box, so you can see here, eventually we're going to augment the images in the next step. You can see here the patch size is 256, so you have to make sure your box here is as big or bigger than sort of your desired patch size. So I'm going to turn the video off for a bit and I'll finish labeling. Okay, so did some labeling. You can see I have these two label boxes here. I've labeled elongated cells on one side and then some of the round cells on the other side. So before I move on to training, I am first going to I'm going to choose Cellpose, then look at, I have to choose a model here, so I'm going to use Cyto3. And yeah, let's just predict with Cyto3. And I should get, it should detect the round cells pretty well, but not the elongated cells, and that's what we see here. So this is Cyto3, and what we want to do here is we want to train on the labels that we drew to see if we can get a model that can do both elongated and round. Now, so this plugin, Easy Augment. So one of the keys here is that in this plugin, we sort of do explicit augmentation. So in a lot of deep learning frameworks, including Cellpose, augmentation is done sort of inline or lazily. As you train, your images are augmented a bit. However, I like to augment explicitly. I just find it, it's, at least for me personally, it's a good it's useful for me to actually see the augmentations, especially for problems where there's different colors involved. Sometimes for problems where there's sparse structure, just to make sure that I'm actually getting useful information and the information that I expect in patches. So what I do here is I only have one image, so I'm going to say augment current image. And now I'm going to go back to my project directory. So notice here now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I only had one image. There's just a single image was all that was in my directory. Now I have all these other directories. So these are just some of the artifacts that are going to be created with the deep learning process. And if I look, I have this patches directory. So the patches are what's going to be used for training. And you can see here, I have all my augmentations. These are the two ROIs I drew. You can see the elongated cells and then the round cell ROI, and we have a bunch of variations of those. And again, a lot of times this is in some deep learning frameworks, this is actually done, but you don't see it. I like to do it explicitly just to just as a troubleshooting mechanism. I found a lot of insights and a lot of bugs that way. Okay, so now that I've done augmentation, I can go on to step 3, which is training. So I've got Cellpose, I hit train, and I get a pop-up with some advanced options. And now this video is like 11 minutes old, and I've finally gotten to what is really the one piece of information that you need to know. So I mean, if you're using this plugin, or if you're accessing Cellpose some other way, just through code or through a different plugin, if you want to try to hit both these cell shapes, you need to turn off the rescaling during training, and that's the key. So I'll give this a name, no rescale, and I'm going to train, but again, I'm going to stop the video while I train because that's going to take, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, and we don't need to watch that. Okay, so I just did the retraining. So as a reminder, we got labels that are in these two label boxes, labels layer. Then we have predictions. These are the predictions from the Cyto3 model. And then we hope by retraining with these two labels, which we turned into this big collection of augmentations, we hope to get better results. So we got, and one of the keys was during the training, we turned the Cellpose rescale parameter off. So let's predict again. And here's our new prediction. So yeah, we're headed in the right direction. This isn't obviously perfect. One of the main reasons is because when I draw labels for problems like these, I'm really sloppy, right? Because I'm using these example images really for partially self-serving purposes, just to test my plugin to make sure the wiring is all right. So when I draw the labels, I'm not taking as much care as, you know, someone who is invested in the project. So I might do these labels in like 20 minutes, while if you're like doing like labeling for a model that you want to use for your research, you know, you should be taking days with very careful labeling, labeling multiple images and everything to get really, really solid labels. So again, this is sort of this example here. Its sort of main purpose is to see if I can detect if the Cellpose model will handle objects of different shapes, but it's not a reflection of how good you could do if you really carefully did your labeling. So yeah, so I hope this video was useful. Again, don't want to really push people too much into this plugin, which is really a work in progress. Really, the main purpose here is to, first off, I need this plugin for other purposes, for some other work I do, so it's a good opportunity to test it, and then really want to convey this whole issue about rescaling. So when you train a Cellpose model for big objects and little objects, you need to rescale, and that's the take-home message, really, for this video. Okay, thanks for watching. That's it for now.